Hello everyone, I'm Randy Klepechka, agronomist with Farmers Supply Association with our monthly Agri report. We're taping on March the 28th in the Tuckerman area, and I'm going to talk to you about some things that I've been talking to you actually about every fall, and that's applying fall residual herbicides. Main reason I've been talking about these is trying to control ryegrass, which is becoming an increasing problem in eastern Arkansas because Roundup won't control it anymore. So we've been having a lot of problems in the spring trying to control that ryegrass. So what I've been recommending, and the university's been recommending, and others, is to apply a fall residual herbicide and keep that ryegrass from ever emerging in the fall. Today I just want to, again, talk about it every fall. Today I just want to show you a couple of results from farmers that have, or a particular farmer that has applied residual herbicides for weed control, not only for ryegrass but for other things. This particular field behind me, this was in soybeans last year. After harvest in the fall, the farmer applied a roller cone disc better, and right after he did that, he applied Valor for weed control. And as you can see behind me, this field is very clean. There's a few mayweed plants here and there, but overall this field is clean and it's good to go for planting this spring. So just wanted to show you that result. Again, behind soybeans with Valor herbicide. We'll move to another field that's going to be in rice where we've applied Command next. Okay, we've moved from a soybean field to a rice field, and we still want to be talking about the residual herbicides that are applied in the fall for weed control and ryegrass and other weeds, so we'll be ready to go next spring. We've moved to a field that's going to be in rice this year. As you can tell, it's already in rice. Rice has been planted here. So in this particular field, it was laid out last year. They did just a little bit of minor dirt work in it, but it was laid out last year, and it's going to be in rice this year. So all they did was, did some of that minor dirt work, and then they applied Command out here, and because it was going to be in rice. So we applied Valor before soybeans. We applied Command out here before rice. This field has you can see a strip right here to my right as you're looking at me to the left, and you'll see where the spray truck missed an area out here, and you can see just a few little green ryegrass plants out there. So this field has some history of ryegrass and other grasses, and you can see where the truck missed. You can see that there is various winter grasses out there, including some ryegrass. You look on either side of that area, it's clean. It's totally clean. So the Command did a wonderful job of controlling the weeds during the fall and winter, and it's ready to plant. In fact, it was planted probably yesterday, I think. You can see the levees out here. The gates are in. I think it's already been sprayed. So just a great job by Command in this case for a fall residual. So we've looked at Valor, we've looked at Command. There's other options such as dual and Zidua. But the bottom line, next fall, especially these fields where you have ryegrass history or even other weed histories, consider a fall residual herbicide application. I think you'll be very happy with it. Of course, you got to get a rain to activate it. But again, I think you'll be very happy when spring comes and you don't have all that turf out there to deal with, and you can be ready to plant. So just something to think about. I'll remind you with the program next fall, but again, just think about fall residuals when we come to October of next year. We want to do this about late October. So that's the story on fall residuals. I want to talk about rice planting and where we're at with rice planting now. You can see this field in particular has been planted again, I think yesterday, and there's been quite a bit of rice planted, but it's really a spotty deal. Some people have planted, some people are waiting till after we got a rain forecast. In fact, maybe too much rain forecast over the next week or so. So some people are waiting for that to get through. They're just getting ground ready and going to go crazy whenever it dries up after this rain. And on the other hand, there's some people that have planted quite a bit this past week. I talked to one person at lunch that were through planting rice already. So, we run the gamut of not having planted yet to being totally done. So that's kind of where we're at with rice planting right now. The conditions are good. The only thing is we're drying out too much in places, but the conditions are good. Soil temperature on Monday was 56 degrees. Today the soil temperature is 60 degrees, so that's really a good temperature for planting rice. I looked at a field around lunch that was planted on 321, March 21st. a week ago today, and I looked to see how it was doing on sprouting, and it will already have a 1/4 inch sprout on it. So, you know, again, usually in March you don't have these soil temps and you don't have it sprouting that fast, but we really had good planting conditions other than it starting to dry out. So, you know, it really has developed pretty quickly. So that's kind of where we're at with rice planting right now. I want to talk about a couple of the questions I've been getting as planting gets underway. The first of that is seeding rates. Getting a lot of questions on seeding rates. Of course, a couple of reasons for that. People trying to save a buck here and there, maybe on reducing seeding rates. And also there's been some seed lots out there with reduced germination rates, some around 60 to 70%. So just wanted to touch on that a little bit. First, on seeding rates, you know, the goal of seeding rates is to get a certain number of plants up. Some people may be able to get, you know, a certain stand with less seed than others. So you know, that's, again, the goal is to get a certain amount up. When we look at the conventional varieties, we want to get about 12 to 18 plants of rice up. The recommended seeding rate for those regular varieties is about 65 to 70 pounds on average. You know, it could be a little more than that or a little less than that. One outlier or exception to that would be CLM05, the medium grain. The recommended rate to get 30 seeds per square foot with CLM05 is 86, where again the rest of them are pretty much in that 65 to 70 range. What we classify as the other varieties, and what I'm talking about here is the Rice Tech varieties, not hybrids. The Rice Tech varieties, there's a Max Ace and a regular variety there. We want to get about 7 to 10 plants per square foot, and normally about 45 to 60 pounds of seed per acre will get you that. Really on that 45 end is probably going to get you in pretty good shape most of the time. Then of course the hybrids with the much lower seeding rates, we want to get about 5 to 8 plants per square foot, and depending on the hybrid, somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 to 28 pounds per acre will get you that. We can go lower. That's not to say you have to plant those rates, but if you've got, you know, good planting equipment, good conditions, you know, good warm weather, good moisture and all that, you could probably cut back on that a little bit and plant some lower seeding rates. But again, you know, unless you've got those really good conditions, let's be careful about cutting those rates too much, because you got to have a good stand, you know, to make a good crop, and there may not be very much, if any, replant seed out there this year. So, you know, let's look at those kind of rates that I'm talking about right there. We also, as I said earlier, have got some low germ seed out there. In those cases, like with a 70% germ, we recommend increasing the seeding rate about 10%, and with 60% germ, probably increase it about 20% from those normal rates. So again, with those seeding rates and good conditions, we ought to get some good stands and be ready to make a good rice crop. Just to touch a little bit on weed control, can't emphasize enough starting clean. You know, it's not a big deal right now because most of the stuff that you see out in the fields right now, pretty much all of it is winter weeds. So those are going to wither away anyway. They're not that competitive. So I'm not that worried about starting absolutely clean at this point, just, you know, clean enough to plant in. But it's a different story once we warm up and things like barnyard grass start coming up. It's a helpless feeling when I get called to a field. The rice has already emerged and they've got 3 to 4 leaf to tillering barnyard grass out there, and there's just not a good answer. So let's start clean, especially with those summer weeds. You know, we need to be looking at Roundup, Gramoxone, whatever it takes to get those fields cleaned up, you know, before the rice starts coming up and our options become much more limited. So again, start clean, whatever it takes to get that done. Of course, most people are going to start with a command application after that. Any field that will take command, you know, there are a few exceptions, but if it'll take command, then that's where we need to be starting at pretty much all the time. You know, some exceptions to that would be where we've got cut fields or where the, you know, dirt work has been done and the rice has not resumed normal, you know, growth in those fields, or, you know, it hadn't recovered enough for normal growth. Then we need to think about other options right there. Bolero and Prowl as delayed pre's are good options on that cut ground. But again, we got to watch the command. Now there is something new coming, and I'm going to be looking at that in the field this year, and I think there might be some available commercially, but in the future there should be some of this available commercially, and that's a seed siphoner. It's called Finclorum, and you would treat the seed with that, and it'll help you, withstand the effects of those herbicides such as command. So in those cases, even on cut ground, if this works out, none of the tests have looked good so far, and again, I'm going to try some, commercially in fields around here this year, especially one field in particular, hopefully. But with that seed safener, you can apply the command even if it's cut ground, even if it's light sandy ground, and be able to put some normal or fairly normal command rates out there. So that's something we're going to be looking at. I'll try to do a program on that later in the season and let you know how it's done. But that would be good, because right now on these cut fields, these light sand fields, we don't have any good choices right away at planting. You know, if we wait a little while, we can use some bolero prowl, but otherwise, you know, we're really at the mercy of what's out there, and a lot of times we're going to get a stand of possibly some grass before we can get anything activated out there. So again, that's something coming for the future. We'll talk about that later in the season. So again, that's where we're at on March the 28th. We made some progress on planting. A lot of people are just kind of waiting until they get everything ready and we get a rain and everything settled down a little bit. But hopefully this upcoming rain next week won't be too heavy, and we can get a decent rain but get back in the field pretty quick after that. So for more information on any of this, you can contact me through Farmers Supply Association. This has been Randy Kopechka with the Farmers Supply Association Agri Report.